Hey everybody, look up at the screen. This is New York. This is my home, the Empire State, for 18 years of my life before moving here to Cortland. Now the next slide, I'm going to show you something that I really miss about New York. Apples. So New York, they grow about 26 different varieties of apples, and I'm pretty sure that every one of you in this room has tried at least one of them, whether it be your Cortland, your Red Delicious, your Gala, Washington, Macintosh, Mac 20, etc. When it comes to the apples, what I feel that New York is very special in the autumn because of apple picking. New York is the second highest producing state of apples behind Sam's Washington State. And according to the USDA Agricultural Statistic Bulletin, New York has produced over 650 million pounds of apples. And at 40 cents a pound wholesale, that means New York will make over $250 million in apple profits alone. Now today, I'm going to talk to you about the tradition, history, and the importance of apple picking, and some of my own personal experiences. So it's no secret that for those of us who have studied American history, that the Europeans came in the early 1600s. When we look at this map, we show that the Dutch came to New York first, around 1609. According to Glenn Powell of the University of Groningen in Holland, she reports that the Dutch brought apples and apple seeds to New York around 1611 with the explorations of explorers such as Adrian Block and Hendrik Christensen. Apples that were grown by the Dutch mainly came from the city of Amsterdam. And when these Dutch people came to New York wasn't called New York, it was called New Amsterdam, to pay homage to their hometown. And when you look at this map, it shows the spread of apples from Flushing, Queens, New York City, all the way up north the state. By 1696, apples had become a hot trading commodity among the Dutch, English, French Canadians, and Native Americans. And then the Dutch also, along with apples, brought the earliest recipes of your apple pies and your apple cider donuts. Now, naturally, harvesting these apples led to the hobby of apple picking as we know it today. When it comes to apple picking in New York, the season starts sometime in the middle of July and ends in the beginning of November. Now, New York apple picking depends on where you start apple picking. So if you're near the coastal regions, such as Long Island, or even along Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, you start picking your apples earlier than the much colder upstate region where I'm from, like Albany, Lake George, Glens Falls, Adirondack Mountains. Now you're thinking, how long does it take me to get to apple orchards? It takes me anywhere from a 45-minute to a 3-hour drive to get to orchards from my hometown. Now, I'll show in this map the locations of where some of my favorite orchards are. So when we look at the map again, Indian Ladder Farms is probably my favorite because it's the closest. It is close to the Albany capital. And then there's also Penny's Orchard near the New York-New Jersey border in a town called Warwick. And lastly, there's Conyers, New York, which has Dr. Davies Farm, which is recently ranked in the top 10 places apple picked in New York and in America by Daniel Lefferts of Bustle.com. Now, I told you where to go apple picking. Now, you're thinking, how much are apples? I'd say that apples are pretty much anywhere you go in orchards, they're cheaper than your grocery stores like your Fred Meyer's and your Safeway. So apples, according to Lawrence and Ike, the owner of Indian Ladder Farms near Albany, New York, she prices her apples at $13 a peck and $36 a bushel. What's the difference between a peck and a bushel? So a peck is roughly 32 medium-sized apples, enough to make 4 9-inch apple pies. A bushel can make you 16 of those apple pies, and that is made up of about 126 apples. Now, there's a lot more to New York apple picking than just apples. Many of New York's orchards will grow different fruits and vegetables, such as your pumpkins, pears, and berries. A lot of New York's orchards will also turn these fruits and vegetables into your favorite preserves and jams, sugar-free too. Oktoberfest is also popular at these orchards, where they'll also have a lot of their own locally brewed beers and wines with apple flavors. And one of my favorite parts, the games involved with apples. You got your apple bobbing, where you're really sticking your head to pick up those apples. And then also apple pie eating contest, where you're also sticking your head to eat those apple pies, finish it within 1 hour. And then also even crazy stuff like apple golf and apple baseball. Man, that is really one of my favorite things. And a lot of the Oktoberfest will have music festival as well in these apple orchards. Now, apple picking has been a part of New York's fall lifestyle since the colonial days. It has become a New York hobby and a New York tradition that leads to helping make peace between family and friends all over the state and all over the country. Cynthia Haskins of the New York Apple Association reports that there are well over 10 million apple trees in the state, covering 41,000 acres of land. And that is the amount of apples made there is enough to make 500 million apple pies annually. And so this year was the first year I couldn't go apple picking in New York, but that's all right. So I'll find other ways to do it. Now, apple picking, I believe, is the New York tradition that led to New York being called the Big Apple today. Now, I'd like to go ahead and my speech and share some of these with you guys. How do you guys like them apples? Yeah.